String theory is a theory developed in 1957 by Robert K. Merton. The theory states that society puts pressure on individuals to achieve socially accepted goals, though they lack the means. This leads to strain, which may cause individuals to commit crimes. This picture represents a strain theory because it shows how the child has settled to crime in order to achieve his goals because he does not have the resources to live the American dream. So he uses violence to get his American dream. Control theory is the view that people refrain from deviant behavior because diverse factors control their impulses to break social norms. This piece of artwork represents the control theory because it shows how the individual is straining from doing that what others would find odd, because he does not want to break the social norms. Most people would rather follow the social norms and not be looked down upon than be themselves. The looking glass self is a social concept created by Charles Horton Cooley in 1902, stating that a person's self grows out of society's interpersonal interactions and the perceptions of others. This picture depicts the theory of the looking glass self because it shows how the girl is looking to other people to view herself and what her image would be, instead of just focusing on what she thinks of her own self. Relative deprivation theory is a view of social change and movement, according to which people take action for social change in order to acquire something, for example, opportunity, status, or wealth, that others possess, and which they believe they should have too. This animated drawing represents the relative deprivation theory because it shows two people who have a small birdhouse looking at someone else's birdhouse and thinking it is better because it is bigger. It is how people are with everything. We all compare what we have with other people and think that what they have is better, and we should have that what is better. Conflict theory is a theory propounded by Karl Marx that claims society is in a state of perpetual conflict due to competition for limited resources. It holds that social order is maintained by domination and power, rather than consensus and conformity. This theory is kind of like survival of the fittest, but in the form of social class. This picture shows a hard-working man having his money taken by someone of a higher power, like a school bully taking a kid's lunch money. This man will now have even more limited resources and not be able to provide for his household behind them. The labeling theory is the theory of how the self-identity and behavior of individuals may be determined or influenced by the terms used to describe or classify them. It is associated with the concept of self-fulfilling prophecy and stereotyping. This picture shows all the words people might use to describe her. She now thinks all of those things are true and that they all make up who she is. Because she is called a flirt, she might act like one. The same for all the other things she is labeled with. The id, ego, and superego are names for the three parts of the human personality, which are part of Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic personality theory. According to Freud, these three parts combined to create the complex behavior of human beings. Here is a perfect example of the psychoanalytic theory. The id is saying, I want it now, while the superego, in contrast, is saying, we can't have it, it's not right. The ego, of course, is the in-between of them both, saying that he needs a bit of time to think about it and come to a conclusion. The distinction made between social groups and persons on the basis of biological, psychological, and factors such as sex, age, and ethnicity result in the assignments of roles and status within a society. I think this picture represents the differentiation theory because it is showing how that one little white egg is separating itself from the rest of the dozen by showing how different it is. The disengagement theory of aging states that aging is an inevitable mutual withdrawal or a disengagement, resulting in decreased interaction between the aging person and others in the social system he belongs to. The theory claims that it is natural and acceptable for older adults to withdraw from society. This picture is a prime example of the disengagement theory because it shows how he is away from society and living in a home or a hospital. He is not able to take care of himself but still manages to seclude himself from the rest of society. The continuity theory of normal aging states that older adults will usually maintain the same activities, behaviors, personality traits, and relationships as they did in their earlier years of life. This picture is a perfect representation of the continuity theory because it shows an old couple or good friends playing tennis together, which they may have done as younger adults or as kids and continued playing as they got older and older.